Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom where golden fields stretched to the horizon and forests whispered with secrets of old, there lived a kind and gentle girl named Cinderella. She was as bright as the morning sun, her heart filled with compassion, and her voice soft as spring rain. Everyone who knew her admired her sweetness, from the farmers who passed her on the road to the children who loved her stories. Everyone except her own stepmother and stepsisters. Cinderella's father, a noble man of gentle spirit, had loved her dearly, but after his passing, the warmth of her home turned cold. Her stepmother, a woman of sharp eyes and sharper tongue, ruled the house with iron will. She demanded much, yet offered little. The two stepsisters, pampered and spoiled, mirrored their mother's cruelty. "You will rise before the dawn," the stepmother decreed one morning, her voice like frost, "and you will not rest until the last candle burns out. The house must shine, the meals must be ready, and every need of my daughters must be met. Do you understand?" "Yes, stepmother," Cinderella replied softly, bowing her head. From that day forth, she lived as a servant in her own home. She scrubbed the floors until her hands grew raw, mended dresses she was never allowed to wear, and carried trays of food she never tasted. Ashes from the hearth clung to her skirts, and so, mockingly, they called her Cinderella. Yet, despite the cruelty, she never complained. In the quiet moments when the moonlight spilled across her tiny attic room, she whispered to herself, "Hope, like the stars, cannot be dimmed." It was this hope that kept her heart light, even when her days were heavy with toil. One crisp autumn morning, the kingdom awoke to wondrous news. Trumpets blared through every village, and heralds unfurled scrolls with shining letters.
"By royal decree, a grand ball shall be held.
By decree of His Majesty the King, there shall be a grand ball at the royal palace. All maidens of noble birth are invited, for the prince shall choose his bride."
Oh, I look simply divine tonight.
Yes, I'm sure all eyes will be on us.
Indeed, my dears.
Cinderella's heart fluttered. The thought of stepping into the palace halls, lit with thousands of candles, filled her with a dreamlike longing. She dared to ask,
"May I go too?" You? With tattered clothes and soot-stained hands?
Her stepmother's laugh was cruel. "You go to the ball? With your soot-stained hands and tattered clothes? You have nothing fit to wear. The prince seeks a lady, not a servant." But no more, the woman cut her off. "Prepare my daughter's gowns. See that their shoes shine like mirrors." The night of the ball came. The carriage wheels rattled away, carrying the stepmother and her daughters in silks and jewels. Left behind, Cinderella stood in the silent kitchen. At last, her courage broke, and tears rolled down her cheeks. Then softly, as though carried by the evening breeze, a gentle light filled the room. It shimmered like moonlight on water, and from its glow stepped a woman clothed in silver. Her eyes were kind, her smile warm. "Don't cry, my dear," she said. "You shall go to the ball." Who are you?" she whispered. "Your fairy godmother," the woman replied, her voice like music. "Now, fetch me a pumpkin." Puzzled, Cinderella obeyed. With a flick of the wand, the pumpkin grew and shimmered until it became a golden carriage. 4 mice scurried across the floor, and with another flick, they stretched and grew into gleaming white horses. The lizard by the hearth straightened into a proud coachman, his uniform crisp. "But what of me?" Cinderella asked timidly, glancing at her ragged dress. The fairy godmother's wand touched the cloth. In an instant, the rags melted away, replaced by a gown of purest silver, threads catching the light like 1,000 stars. On her feet shone glass slippers, delicate yet unbreakable. Cinderella gasped, "It's beautiful!" "Remember, child," the fairy godmother warned, "the magic will last only until midnight. At the stroke of 12, everything will return to what it was." Cinderella nodded eagerly, her heart alight with wonder. The palace blazed with splendor that night. Music drifted through the halls, violins and harps weaving a melody of enchantment. Nobles in gowns of velvet and silk whirled across the marble floor. Yet when Cinderella entered, a hush fell. Who was this radiant stranger? The courtiers whispered, dazzled by her beauty and grace. The prince himself stepped forward, his eyes fixed on her as though he had known her always. "May I have this dance?" he asked, bowing low. "Yes, Your Highness," she replied, her cheeks flushing. They danced, and the world seemed to fade away. The chandeliers sparkled above, but their light was dim compared to the glow of Cinderella's smile. The prince spoke of his dreams, his longing for someone who saw beyond his crown, and Cinderella listened, her heart opening with every word. Hour after hour, they remained together, unaware of time's passing, until from the great clock tower, a single bell tolled. Midnight. Cinderella gasped, "I must go!" "But wait, please," the prince begged, reaching for her hand. But she fled down the staircase, the magic unraveling with every step. In her haste, one glass slipper slipped from her foot, clattering onto the marble. She dared not stop to retrieve it. The carriage became a pumpkin once more. The mice scurried back into mice, and Cinderella found herself in her tattered gown, breathless beneath the starry sky. Yet she smiled, clutching her memory of the night. The next morning, proclamations swept the kingdom. The prince would marry the maiden who fit the glass slipper left behind. He carried it himself from door to door, determined to find the mysterious lady of the ball. At last, he arrived at Cinderella's home. The stepsisters pushed forward eagerly, each trying to wedge her foot into the slipper. The elder winced, the younger tugged, but the shoe would not fit. "Is there no one else in this house?" the prince asked. Only then did Cinderella step shyly forward, her eyes lowered. The stepmother scoffed. "Surely, sire, you do not mean her." But the prince knelt and held out the slipper. Cinderella slipped her foot inside with ease. It fit perfectly, as though it had been made for her alone. With shining eyes, the prince exclaimed, "It is you! You are the one I have sought!" Cinderella's heart overflowed with joy. Soon after, a wedding was proclaimed. The bells rang across the land as Cinderella, dressed in splendor, walked by the prince's side. No longer bound to cinders and sorrow, she embraced the life she had always dreamed of. And so, with kindness, hope, and a little touch of magic, Cinderella's hardships ended, and her dreams came true. They lived happily ever after.